Hey guys, King of Charmander. Today I bring you a 10-0 video of Alolan Sandshrew. Now, for some of you that don't follow me on Twitter, somehow, someway, this little clip I put of Alolan Sandshrew with my Hypno Save Switch and Alolan Muck went viral on Twitter. Well, I wouldn't say viral, but pretty viral for the Pokemon Go Battlers community. As you see here, it literally murks and destroys an entire line of a Gyarados, I believe a Haunter, and a Hypno. It literally 1v3s everything like a beast, and she's famous. So, yes, it's a she. It's a level 50 Alolan Sandshrew that is indeed female. And she literally destroyed this poor soul. This poor soul. She went ham and she destroyed everything. But anyways, as you see here, it's still getting likes, and I posted this yesterday. So it's pretty nuts just how well it did, and I'm super proud of my Alolan Sandshrew. As soon as I got the boost, I was like, oh my gosh, this can happen, but as you see, it's actually pretty squishy, and it literally lives with only 1 HP left. It's absolutely adorable, and it does a lot of damage, and it's a lot of fun for the Kanto Cup. I actually went 10-0 today with it, so I'm gonna show you the showcases matches, but I thank my little Alolan Sandshrew. If you do have one and you have the dust and you have the XL candy, I heavily recommend you build one because it's so much fun. And like I said, this video got a lot of attention, literally 10.2k views, and it's still growing. So again, I hope you guys enjoy these battles, and if you are here from that video, please hit the like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate the support. Alright, so here we have the shoutcast. Again, it's 10 battles. It's a 10-0. It's pretty long, but I did speed up the battles just in case. So they're at, like, I think a 1.5 speed. Get our first opponent, again, Hypno and Amok. Really great back row for Alolan Sandshrew. Hopefully you get the boost. If you don't and you see this thing in the lead, you gotta run. So you safe switch into Hypno. As you see, we get a Machamp. My opponent thinks about what they're gonna switch into, and I get a Mr. Mime. Now this thing it's shiny. So I'm also really confused at this point because I'm trying to remember what Mr. Mime has for charge moves. As you see, our confusions are in sync, and they do get a move off, and I'm like, I remember, like, last second it has, like, Shadow Ball Psychic or something like that, so as you see, I call a Perfect Shield. Now all I'm going to do is just going to Thunder Punch, I'm just going to Thunder Punch it down, and I'm going to actually do as much as I can here to take Switch, because I don't want Alolan Sandshrew versus that Machamp. As you see here, they switch into their Haunter, and I'm just going to chunk it down and double shield. At this point, I want to be able to try to do everything I can to try to confusion down this Haunter, and then hopefully I can do some damage to the Machamp. As you see, they switch into the Machamp, trying to basically, like, do as much damage as they can. I don't know why they did this. I think they were really confident that they could just counter down, or they had something really strong for my back row. As you see here, I catch a payback on my Alolan Muck, and all I do is snarl down this Machamp. This was a really interesting play by my opponent because I was like, I was actually they counter me down, but I attempt to snarl down, and then Sandshrew just goes to town. Sandshrew should be able to just Powder Snow down for the rest of the time, and even a Shadow Punch wouldn't KO me at this point. There's match number 1. It was very strange, so yeah, I was really weird because I was like, why would you switch? They made some interesting plays, but because I was able to do so much heavy damage with Hypno's Confusion, that's why I like playing Hypno. Hypno does, if I can take Switch and do a lot of chunk damage, I can possibly come out with a W with Alolan Sandshrew or Muck. As you see here, we get our second opponent. We get a Vileplume into Alolan Sandshrew. This is great for us because this is probably a Razor Leaf, and it is. As you see, the strength of Alolan Sandshrew is that it's able to actually tank a ton of damage if it's resisted. We get a Wigglytuff. I don't know why I switched out. I think it was just reflex. I should have stayed in because I can bait shield with Blizzard or gather more energy. As you see, I successfully bait with Dark Pulse, which is what I want to do. I'll normally do it because my opponent, if they're a great player, is going to double shield anyways, fearing for the Sludge Wave. Because Sludge Wave does KO if it does land. So as you see, I get the first bait, and then the second one, I Sludge Wave, and it lands. So the bait worked. I also kind of do it as a feint, and my opponent was trying to keep their shields for their Vileplume, and whatever they have in the back. So I win Switch, and now I have full control of the match. I elect to send in my Alolan Sandshrew because I want to save my Hypno. I don't know what they have in the back. I want to dump this energy too. And I see an Alolan Marowak, and I'm like, oh boy, that's great. So it's great that I saved my Hypno because I don't want my Alolan Sandslash against this Alolan Marowak. That's why I switch out after I dump my Night Slash on this AWAC. I should be able to get to a Thunder Punch or a Shadow Ball here, KO this thing, and take out the Vileplume for the W. As you see, I elect not to shield. Unfortunately, I do get my defense down. I shield this time around because I need to take out this AWAC. What sucks is that they did get the debuff. Either way, I'm pretty comfy here. I can send in my Alolan Sandshrew to finish off the Vileplume in the back. Get the Thunder Punch off. That KOs the big shiny ghost. What's up with everyone flexing their freaking shinies, man? I'm super jealous of the Alola of the shiny mine because I don't have a shiny mine. And yeah, man, you guys are mean. So I just, as you see here, I managed to get the Night Slash off, which is huge. Because I was for sure in this moment, I was like, wow, it's gonna die. And for sure, as you see here, Alolan Sandshrew actually lives. If it does, like I mentioned, if it does resist damage, it can do great. If it doesn't resist damage, you're in a rough spot. There's also a bunch of things that you can lose against in Alolan Sandshrew. At this point, I'm kind of huffing and puffing because I'm like, oh my gosh, somehow it lived because I was not expecting it to live. As you see, Alolan Sandshrew's weakness is that it is pretty glassy. Yes, it can boost, but just because you boost, that doesn't mean you're going to live through the first 2 Mons unless you play really well. As you see here, we get a third match, and it's a Lapras lead. This is horrible. You want to know why? Because Lapras beats Alolan Sandshrew. So, it's because they double resist Powder Snow. As you see here, I'm just going to keep throwing Night Slashes in an attempt to do as much damage as I can. My play here is to either, one, sacrifice Alolan Sandshrew and try to get the boost, and then I try to farm with my back row. As you see here, I don't get a boost for 2 Night Slashes. That's fine. You can chunk damage. As you see, they hit a Skull Bash, which is actually really nuts. I was like, wow, Skull Bash. So I'm glad I didn't shield because I resisted. But at the same time, look how much damage that Skull Bash did, even though it was resisted. Mind you, Lapras doesn't get same type attack bonus. So it's nuts that I took out like half my HP. I shield this time around because they Skull Bash. I want to do as much damage as I can. I can hit this Night Slash, and because its defense is up, I don't think I'm going to be able to farm it down. As you see, it goes off. I try to do an attempted farm down, but I actually catch the Surf on my Hypno. I should have switched it to aim up, but as you see here, I managed to do some damage, and we're going to try to do as much as we can with Hypno on in Hello, Marowak! Now, this is terrible. As you see here, I'm going to try to get a shield, and I don't get a shield. So, my opponent is very, very smart. They called the bait, and now I'm going to let my Hypno go, and I'm going to try to see if I can win down shield advantage and a half-hurt Alolan Sandshrew. I'm in a really bad spot right now. So, what I'm doing here is basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and farm down all the way. This sounds like a horrible idea, but I don't really have a choice, because I need to basically dump as much energy as I possibly can. So as you see here, I'm firing. We do get the farm down. My opponent has 2 shields, which is the issue. Because they have 2 shields, I'm in a lot of trouble. So we get the Lapras. I managed to farm it down with my last Snarl, and we get a Hypno in the back. This is huge. So I can take both shields. Okay, there's literally only one win condition here. What I'm going to try to do is send out my Alolan Muck and try to catch the confusion on my Sandshrew, or win con number 2, I get a boost. Those are my only 2 win cons. And as you see here, I get the boost. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. I'm mashing my Night Slash because I need 1 more to KO, and somehow Alolan Sandshrew comes in clutch. That was literally only one of my 2 win cons. The other win con was try to catch the confusion on Alolan Sandshrew and get 1 more Snarl in, and hopefully I cap into fire 1 last Dark Pulse and take the W. The only other win con was, as you see, Ashrew getting the boost, which was huge. That was a really tight match. The thing is, I lose the lead against Lapras or Dugong, so having to come out of it, like, if what my play, as I normally play the lead, doesn't work, then I'm in a lot of trouble, so thankfully I got the boost. That's the one time where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got the boost. As you see here, I'm going to switch into Alolan Muck. I didn't realize that this was a Dragon Breath Zard. If you do see a Charizard, you should, like, see if it's Fire Spin or not. If it's Night Slash, I mean, if it's Dragon Breath, you do resist Dragon Breath, and you can try to see if you want to create Night Slash plays from there. As you see here, it was safer for me to switch to Alolan Muck and fire Dark Pulses, since they sent in their Lapras against my Amok. I'm just going to keep snarling down, do some damage, do as much chip as I can. As you see, I managed to get 2 Dark Pulses off. I'm either going to take Switch or take both of my opponent's shields here. As you see, I managed to get the second shield, and I'm vibing pretty well right now. I should be able to shield this one Surf, and then I can get to another Snarl, I can get to another Dark Pulse, and then I can get the KO. As you see here, they get to a second one. I elect the shield here because I'm like, you know what? I want to keep switch because my opponent has that Charizard, and I don't want that Charizard on my Alolan Sandslash. As you see here, they managed to catch my Dark Pulse for some odd reason. And this is a Dragon Claw for sure. This was kind of a really weird move for me. I was like, why would my opponent do this? But you know what? I'm not going to ask if you do mistakes. I farm it down with Alolan Sandshrew. If they send in their Lapras, I'm going to get to a Night Slash and I'm going to fire it off. My hope is I get the KO on this Lapras before they get to another move. I should be able to. And we do not. So we don't get the KO. They managed to do some chip. I should be able to farm down with Powder Snow, and then I have to chunk whatever's in the back. As you see here, we do manage to get the farm down, and in the back, it is a Venusaur. So with Venusaur over here, I'm like, okay, this is great. So I'm able to take it out with Hypno, and this Night Slash should do a decent amount of chunk damage to where I could just Confusion down, because my opponent has no choice but to throw their energy here, unless they choose not to throw their energy. As you see here, they decide to throw it, and they're one Confusion away from death, so that's GG's. They threw the Sludge Bomb for some odd reason. I'm not sure why, but either way, they were pretty much finished, because I still had a whole Hypno in the back, so yeah, always go for the Sludge. Always Sludge the Steel, and I did get Sludge, so yeah. Very interesting battle. I was very confused, but anyways, that's number. As you see, I'm 4 out of 5, and I'm pretty ecstatic right now because I'm like, wow, holy crud, I'm 4 out of 5. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to 5-0 with Alolan Sandshrew. This would be my second 5-0 if I manage to get it successful. And you already know this is a 10-0 video, so I'm not really gonna hide it. I do win these matches, but I think I still lose the lead against, I think, some of these battles. I see I get Sandshrew and Hypno. I actually win this lead. This is my 5th one. It's a Purified Hypno, which is really cool. But it probably is a Double Punch Purified Hypno. As you see, I kind of jack up the timing on here, and I get the Night Slash off. My hope is I get the boost. If I get the boost, that's great. If I don't, I got the boost. I did get the boost. Okay, so now I'm vibing, and I'm really excited. So getting the boost on your first time around for Alolan Sandshrew is a great, because it puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. My opponent does switch to Alolan Marowak. This is where it gets really dicey because I have to choose to either throw my energy or switch. As you see here, I elect to throw all my energy. I elect to get 2 Night Slash off because this is going to do heavy damage. And then I can switch into Amok. I get the second Night Slash off. I managed to break both my opponent's shields. I send in the Amok, and then I should be able to Dark Pulse, and this will KO. This was really great. We managed to take both of our opponent's shields with well, not Ace Slash, Ace Shrew. As you see, they do get another Gun Club. That's okay. I try to farm a little more. As you see here, I go a little 1, 2. I go 2 above. I can go for 3, but I don't want to risk it. So I go for the Dark Pulse. I have a leftover energy. And we can possibly expect that Hypno to come. Well, not Hypno, but whatever they have in the back. If they do send a Hypno, I'm pretty sure the reason why they send in is because their back row is weak to Muck as well. As you see here, I do get the last Dark Pulse off, KO the Hypno, and then in the back, they have a Blastoise. Okay, so my opponent really didn't have a shot anyways. I get the Dark Pulse off. Even if they didn't send in Hypno, I still have my Hypno, and I still have a Shrew as a sack. So it's pretty much GG's. I'm going to go for the Thunder Punch. A Hydro Cannon will KO here, or 2 Hydro Cannons will KO here. I think I accidentally over-tap, as you see here. I was under-tapping, but somehow they got their energy. And I think that might have been CMP. I got the second Hydro Cannon, but as I told you before, I actually live it. I'm going to get the Thunder Punch off, and this should KO, and that's GG's. And we 5-0. Let's go. I was super excited because I never, I've been struggling to get 5-0s. And like I said, I got 1, but this is my second one. But it's the first 5-0 I got on stream, which was really exciting. For those of you that don't know, I do stream on Twitch. It's on my link if you want to check it out. I do a bunch of crazy stuff like this all the time. After I make Legend, I meme my life away. Or, yeah, if there's a request that's really, really requested, I will meme my life away. So as you see here, Alolan Sandshrew can come in clutch. I did have, the boost can come in clutch at right intervals. As you saw there, one of the battles in this 5-0, I actually boosted last second, and somehow that got me the W. For the second time around, even if I didn't boost with a Shrew, I have a very strong matchup against Hypno, and I still had a whole Hypno for that Blastoise in the back, so it wouldn't have mattered anyways. So great team. Alolan Sandshrew is amazing, and it really does do a lot for you if you play it well. Alolan Sandshrew isn't the thickest thing around. As you saw in the battles, it takes a decent amount of damage, even if it does resist moves. It's not like Hydreigon where you can tank surfs or tank charge moves. You actually have to shield a lot. Like, once you get the boost, you have to almost shield if you want to retain it. Unless they send in a Alolan Marowak or a Machop, and you have to get out of there. So you see we get match number 6. 5-0. Can we go for this? Well, you guys already know. You guys know it's a 10-0. So this is match number 6. For match number 6, I get Sandshrew versus Wigglytuff. This is great. This gives you a great example of what I mean by resisting moves. Now, there's one of 2 ways you could go with this. Night Slash actually doesn't do a lot of damage. So, I have 2 choices. I can go straight for the Blizzard, or I can bait them Blizzard. Now, what I've been doing is I actually bait first. As you see, I'll bait with Night Slash, and then I go for the Blizzard. The reason being is because like a lot of Charm Release I faced, you'll get really smart and they shield a Blizzard at first. So I do this combo and it goes through. As you see, if a Blizzard does go through shields, your Wigglytuff or Charmer will die. Now I still have an I still have like half an Sandshrew, which is great because we're able to get this Night Slash off. And I'm able to do some damage, or I can grab that last shield. And you see here, I do grab the last shield. I get another one off. So I get another Night Slash off. So we'll deal heavy damage to this Hypno, even though it's not boosted, just because it's a Shadow. As you see, I send in Amok. I have 2 shields. This is pretty much game over. That really positive a matchup I had really helped out as far as me being able to Blizzard through shields. My opponent's gonna throw Thunder Punches. I'm gonna save my shield for my Hypno. There's no reason for me to, like, fire anything. Actually, as you see, they send in a Raticate, and I am very confused. So my game plan here is actually to double Sludge to take out the Alolan Raticate, because I don't want Alolan Raticate on my Hypno. Even if it was on my Hypno, I could Thunder Punch it to death, but Alolan Raticate does resist Confusion, so I don't want that matchup. So you see here, I will double shield if I have to, and I fire my Sludge Wave. I manage to get 1 shield, and then I should just be able to Snarl down for the W. I see second Sludge Wave goes off, we KO, and then I send in my own Hypno, and then I just farm down, go for the Thunder Punch. I have a shield, and my opponent just quits out because there's no play. That's a GG's. As you see here, it's doing really well. Sandshrew, like I said, Sandshrew does really well against matchups where it resists those fast moves. It can tank a lot of charge moves though. If you do get hit, even if you do get hit with if you get hit with a resisted move, it's gonna do a lot of damage just because of how glassy Alolan Sandshrew is. So do not bank on Alolan Sandshrew being the thickest thing around and eating a ton of damage. What made this video, that video I posted on Twitter, where it got a whole bunch of views, I had no idea why it went so viral. No, I really do appreciate the support. If you're watching this video as a result of that, that's why it's so hard to pull this off. You have to play really almost perfectly, because Alolan Sandshrew does not tank a lot of damage. As you see, we get an Alolan Marowak into a Sandshrew. I say switch in a Hypno. I don't want to lose my Alolan Muck because I'd rather keep my Alolan Muck. And now we're in a kind of a bad spot. I will shield here expecting a Shadow Bone, and it is a Shadow Bone, and now my opponent switches out to their Hypno. I go for the Thunder Punch. Now, I'm kind of scared here because I'm like, what if they don't shield? And they do not shield, which really sucks, because a Shadow Ball would have done really great damage in this scenario. I get the Shadow Ball off in here, and then I'm hoping the Shadow Ball through shields. And I don't get the Shadow Ball through shield. My opponent is playing really well right now. They are calling every one of my moves, so it's not really frustrating me, but I'm like, oh crap. So as you see, the Shadow Ball goes through. I let my Hypno go, and just because there's no point of keeping it alive, I send in my Alolan Muck. Now I'm hoping this is a punch, so I don't shield anything, and I'm going to gather as much energy as humanly possible. As you see here, I start over farming like a madman, and I try to get to 2 Dark Pulses. They manage to fire a move, but I will eat this one. I got a Snarl through, so that's great. As you see, Thunder Punch does go through. I'm going to fire my Dark Pulse, and I'm going to try to get a little more energy before I KO this Hypno. They let it go, that's great. If they shield, I take the last shield. As you see, we get a Venusaur, and this is bad. The reason why it's bad is because it's going to take multiple Dark Pulses for me to kill it, and they still have an Alolan Marowak in the back. I managed to get this next Dark Pulse off, which is great. Unfortunately, I'm in trouble. I have to shield here because I'm in Frenzy Plant range. I fire off my Dark Pulse, and now my play here is to try to farm down with Alolan Marowak. As you see, my farm down with Alolan Sandshrew, and then fire Night Slashes. In order for me to win this match, I basically need to get 2 Night Slashes off. So I get 1 off, and I should be able to get another one off before they fire a Shadow Bone. And I do. So I managed to get another one off. Bone Club wouldn't have been enough to KO me. They needed a Shadow Bone. So my opponent got really greedy, and then as you see, Alolan Sandshrew comes in clutch for the W. Really, GG's to my opponent. That was a really stressful match just because Alolan, like, everyone's biggest hate against my Alolan Sandshrew video. They're like, what if you see fire leads? What if you see fire leads? Well, guess what? I led into a fire lead and I still won. So what save switches are for. Just saying. And I didn't. And, oh yeah, buying you. I did not boost that match at all. So I lost the lead hard. And I didn't boost that match. And I still won. So all of you hating out there, get wrecked! Haha! Haha! As you saw there. Well, actually, there's plenty of scenarios where Alolan Sandshrew comes in really clutch. That's one of them. As you see here, we go on to our next match. I'm just celebrating just how crazy that match was because I did lead in the Alolan Marowak, and I thought I really was going to lose that one. We get to our next match. We get Arch. So, great. Oh, man. Like, that last match has me beat, but I keep going. I get Victory Belt into Ashrew. This is great. We win this lead. We're able to resist Shadow Razor Leaf, but look how much this chunks. As you see, Shadow Razor Leaf chunks a lot. I gather a little more energy, and I do fire a Night Slash. I try to get the bait. And I'm basically going to do the same thing I did with Wigglytuff earlier. Get the bait, and then I'm going to go for the North, for the Northern Blizzard. The reason I didn't switch out here is because I can rely on Hypno to take out that Victory Belt. As you see here, I shield and go for the Blizzard. And but like, watch what happens. Pow! Bam! Yes, a whole Blizzard will take out or almost OKO a Alolan Muck, and we get Switchback. Now, this is bad because it's a Shadow Lapras and Ice Water double resists my Ice attack. So, I'm just going to go for the Night Slashes, do as much damage as humanly possible, do as much chip as I can, and then I'm going to let Alolan Sandshrew go. As you see, that like, being able to win Switch was huge. I should be able to get one Night Slash off, and then after this, I'm going to switch out, I believe. I want to preserve my Alolan Sandshrew as a sack. Actually, I don't, because I get the boost. Because I got the boost, I try to go for another Night Slash. Unfortunately, I do not get there. Now, what I'm going to do is, I have a back row and I still have a shield. I'm pretty healthy right now. I send in my Hypno to try and farm down. And we get the Shadow Victory Bell, which is kind of what I wanted. As you see here, we're just going to hit the Thunder Punch. My opponent has to shield this, otherwise they lose their Victory Bell. And then I Confusion down. As you see, I will shield this. All I have to do is gather to another move, and then that's GG's. The good thing about Hypno in the back is that Hypno can take on these poison typings. It can also take on the fighting types, as you saw earlier. I get the Thunder Punch, and that's GG's. No, this Surf won't kill even if it's Shadow. Hypno is very bulky. That's why I keep it. It actually does KO, and ignore the past 30 seconds of Shout Casting. 20 seconds, give or take. My Hypno does get KO'd, and then I Dark Pulse for the W. I still won. No, you didn't see that. You didn't see that. I wasn't worried at all. Nada. I was not worried. You may think I've been worried, but I was not worried. So, yeah. Anyways, on to the next match. As you see, we came in clutch, and I think at that point I was just like, wow. I think I was surprised myself. I'm like, wow, I lost my luck. I was not expecting that. Do you see we get the next match? It's like H/VC or something like that. So I'm going to go for the next one, and then we get a Sandshrew, and then into a Graveler. So you have to be a little careful here, because if you let Volt Switches go through your Night Slashes, it does a lot of damage because Ashrew isn't really thick. So I'm going to fire off Night Slash, and then I'm going to hope that, like, I don't let any through. It's kind of difficult to time it. As you see here, it's like it's really hard, so you have to really be careful. So I'm firing off my Night Slashes. I'm trying not to get, as you see, I managed to get shields. I let one Rock Blast through. So Rock Blast doesn't do a lot of damage, but it still does a decent chunk. It puts me in it puts me in the yellow, as you see here. And, well, it's going to put you in a yellow, but I get the boost. So I get really happy. I'm like, wow, I got the boost. This is awesome. So I get the boost, and then I'm going to just keep Night Slashing away, because as you see here, it does a decent chunk to Dugong. I don't want Alolan Graveler has energy, so I don't want, I'm gonna lose it anyways, but as you see here, we're just racking up the damage. My opponent doesn't throw, I'm gonna be able to get to another Night Slash. I elect a shield here because I'd rather take my opponent to the 0, so I should be able to take my opponent to the 0 shield. I expected them the shield on this next one just to keep their Dugong alive because they want to keep Switch, and they do. As you see, I don't get to another Night Slash, unfortunately. I have to let my Ashrew go, but it did enough work. I won't shield the next one. It's going to be an Icy Wind. What I'm doing is from the farthest down, and then I'm going to pivot out, and then I'm going to clear the debuff. I have a shield, so I can try to, as you see here, I will switch to clear the debuff, and I have a shield. So I will shield the next move, because I'm pretty sure my opponent's going to go for the big Stone Edge here, and they do. And then I'm going to try to get to a Dark Pulse. So Dark Pulse goes off, and then this should do some heavy damage. And it doesn't, it like literally almost KOs. I do get an extra Night Slash of energy, Snarl of energy. And then all we're going to do is a Charizard in the max, so all we're going to do is Dark Pulse down. That's GG's to my opponent. This was really bad. I think they do get to a Blast Burn, but I have Hypno in the back, and all I have to do is just Confusion down for the W. Very GG's. That was a very, that kind of sucked because I boosted on him, but at the same time, either way, it would have been a really, I would have switched. As you see, I still had a whole Hypno, so it was still really rough for my opponent to win. Get the W. And then on to the next match. As you see, those are some really fun matches up so far. And now I'm like really vying. I'm like, oh my gosh, give me the lead, give me the lead. I'm praying for the lead. Give me the lead, give me the boost, give me the lead and the boost. Preferably both for this next match because this is for the 10-0. So I want a 10-0. We all want a 10-0. If you're on a roll with something really spicy in the lead and really expensive like Alolan Sandshrew, you hope that they go 10-0. As I mentioned in the title of this video, or this description, I actually go 19-6. After this, I actually could have gone 15-0, but I misplayed on my next match, so I didn't go 11-0. Sadly. Otherwise, a 15-0 would have been pretty nuts. 15-0 would have been really nuts. So, at this point, I'm literally praying to boost/lead Jesus and just asking for this one moment, please. Just give me one moment, one more win to give me a 10-0, because that's what I just want a 10-0. So, that's but yeah, I actually don't win the next match after this one, and it actually, and it cost me a lot, so it really sucked, but you know what, it's what it is. I go 14-1 in 3 sets, which is really good. Again, I think I went 19, let's see, actually I think I did higher, because I did the 10-0, I got 2-3, I got a 3-2 and a 4-1. So no, I did go 19. So 19-6 was the overall day for my Alolan Sandshrew. It's pretty crazy how well it did, just considering how, it's pretty crazy just how well it did. It's nuts. As you see, I get the last match over. I'm done praying to boost and lead Jesus, so I'm hoping for a next one. And we get a legend! I'm like, oh, great! For the 10-0, we get the free, we're about to have a really sweaty battle. And it's a victory belt. So this is, we win this lead. They switch into a Gengar, easy peasy. I switch into my Hypno. This is actually bad. I should have actually switched into Alolan Muk. I think the theory I was looking for is that, like, Alolan Muk, I'm thinking they have an Alolan Marowak in the back, so I don't want to lose my Alolan Muk. I think that's my thought process. As you see, I do take the Shadow Punch. I don't want to lose another shield, and I fire the Thunder Punch. Hoping, that was kind of a mistake. I should have just farmed down. But it's okay. I have a semi-healthy, Hypno, and I'm able to chunk this Victory Bell with 2 Confusions, so it was actually worth it. I send in back my Ashrew. I'm going to fire this Night Slash, and I should be able to grab a shield. That or just going to let it go and leave 2 shields for whatever's in the back, which they do. They get a Muk, and now this kind of sucks, because what I have to do is catch a Dark Pulse, and I managed to do so successfully, which is awesome. I need to get this Dark Pulse through, because what I'm going to try to do is I need to chip as much damage as I can on this Muk. And then finish off with Alolan Sandshrew. As you see here, they still have 2 shields, so I'm going to chunk as many shields as I can and do as much chip damage as I can. So all I have to do is really Night Slash for the W with Alolan Sandshrew. Don't have to rely on the boost. The Powder Snow damage plus the 2 Night Slashes should KO. As you see here, I'm doing everything I can to take my opponent's HP. I fire a second Dark Pulse, because I should have gone for Sludge Wave here, but they didn't call the bait, and they still have a pretty healthy Amok. However, that's perfectly fine. We're just going to let our Amok go here. Now I'm going to send an Ashrew, and I'm going to Night Slash you to that. As you see, my opponent intelligently undercharges their Dark Pulse. So I'm like, oh, so you fancy, huh? Well, guess what? I'm fancy too, because you know why? I got 2 Night Slashes back to back, and, well, it didn't really matter. I attempted to farm down there, and that's GG's. As you see, 10-0. 2 5-0s with an Alolan Sandslash. I hope you enjoyed those battles. I hope if you do have one, this inspires you to use yours, because it's a lot of fun in the Kanto Cup, and Kanto Cup will be coming back, so you could use it in the future. Very GG's to my opponents. This was a really awesome. I lost the lead here. I boosted my way to victory, and I got a clean 10-0 with Alolan Sandshrew. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video, and good luck on your Go Battle League sets.